This is Viterbi Voices.
Coming to you from the University of Southern California, Viterbi School of Engineering.
We're here to give you the inside scoop on research, classes, student life, and so much more.
All of these shared by students, faculty, alumni, and other members of the USC community.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Viterbi Voices. As usual, I am one of your hosts. My name is Paul Ledesma, Executive Director of Undergraduate Admission here at the USC Viterbi School of Engineering.
And hey, everybody, I'm your other co-host, Maya Neuenschwander, a current senior studying Industrial and Systems Engineering here at Viterbi.
And we have another little special co-host joining us for this particular session. Would you like to reveal your identity, special co-host?
Of course. Hi, my name is Grace Sampson. I am a current senior here at the university studying mechanical engineering.
Awesome. So, Grace, this is your second time on the podcast. You made your first premiere episode back on the Barbenheimer episode. If anybody had not heard that, that was a fantastic one we did in August to discuss the implications of the Barbie and Oppenheimer movies at the same time. If I remember correctly, you were recording from a car in the middle of Tennessee. Is that right?
I was, and I actually just accepted a full-time position with General Motors working in Corvette assembly and on the Cadillac SUVs. So I will be going back there in May.
Oh my
Fantastic.
gosh, congratulations, Grace.
Congratulations. Thanks, working in Tennessee, you said at GM?
Yep, for General Motors.
And you said you threw out a lot of words very quickly, so I want to go over it one by one. Working at GM for General Motors in Tennessee, working on the assembly of which cars?
I'll primarily be on the Cadillac SUVs. So the new Cadillac Lyriq is an EV, and then the Cadillac XT5, XT6, they're both internal combustion engine cars.
Fantastic. Congratulations. Way to go.
Thank you guys.
So this episode, Grace, this is your episode. You want to tell us what this episode is all about, what the listeners are about to hear?
Yeah, of course. It's a subject I'm really passionate about and something I've really tried to prioritize in my life over my 4 years at the university. But I'm going to sit down with a few of my friends and peers in the Viterbi School of Engineering to talk about self-care and what that's looked like when we first got to the university, when we first started college, and how we've kind of adapted to taking care of ourselves and making sure we're prioritizing our free time outside of the rigorous engineering curriculum that USC has.
All right. Well, let's get out of the way because wellness is an important aspect, and part of wellness is making sure that we're being respectful of everyone's time. So let's get straight into the episode here, and we'll join you on the back end of this conversation to wrap it up.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Viterbi Voices podcast. On this episode, we are going to be talking about self-care as an engineering student at USC. My name is Grace Sampson, and I will be your host. I am a current student at the university, a senior studying mechanical engineering. I'd love now to introduce some of my friends who come from a wide variety of disciplines who are going to be helping me talk about self-care here.
My name is Amanda. I am also a senior studying mechanical engineering.
My name is Isabella. I am a senior studying biomedical engineering with a molecular and cellular emphasis.
My name is Allison, and I'm a senior studying computer science business administration with a minor in cybersecurity.
Thank you so much, you guys. And it's nice to have all my friends together. We're actually practicing self-care tonight. If you could see in my living room, we had cookies and hung out, and now we're going to get to talk to you guys. So having a good time tonight, which you should all be doing while you're in college and while you're in high school as well. So my first question is, how do you guys define self-care, and what is self-care to you?
For me, the way I view self-care is just doing whatever it takes to maintain your well-being. For me, I think that comes with really balancing my academic life and my personal life. As Grace said, we're all just hanging out, and I think it's just taking time for yourself.
Yeah, I agree with that mostly. I think for me, it's also just taking the time to check in with myself to kind of see where I'm at and making sure that I'm doing things that are making me happy, especially when I'm stressed, and making sure I'm staying healthy in whatever manner I can also.
Yeah, I would say the same, and just like making sure that I'm good in all aspects of my life and understanding where I have to balance things out and what things maybe I necessarily have to give up, but also still finding time to make myself happy.
For sure. I definitely feel like reflection is key. Like at the end of the day, just sitting back and taking a second to breathe, think things over. Some days are better than others, and kind of what you can do the next day to make things better than the day before. Speaking of what you do on the day-to-day, what's like a typical day for an engineer at USC? How are you taking care of yourself on campus and then when you get home off campus?
Okay, I think every day is a little bit different just because different days you have a different load of classes. But
sure.
I think typically for me, I've been trying to go to the gym a few times a week. So morning I'll wake up, go to the gym, come home, take a shower, and then go to class, go through class, and then come home, take a breath, take a second, eat dinner, and then get homework done. And every evening, I at least try to see some of my friends or just spend some time hanging out with my roommate, just to make sure that it's not all school all day long. So.
Yeah, I would say same, yeah. Just like well, obviously schedule changes like every day because like you said, different classes and all that. But I would say like generally I look at it more of like a weekly basis and like, okay, this is the stuff that I generally gotta have done this week. So, and then just like finding areas where I'll have time, and then just like, I would say another big thing is just like focusing on like planning out what I'm gonna eat, because that's another big thing. If like also deciding whether I'm gonna like make something at home or buy something. And also I would say probably just another big thing, which I try to do is just sometimes like once I'm done with classes, just to unwind, go on like a walk or a run around campus.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when the weather is as nice as it's been this fall. It's a great time to take a walk, relax a little bit. I struggle with the eating thing. Sometimes it's hard to plan out your meals and you get in this repeat where you're in the village getting kava or some sort of takeout to take home because you just don't have time to cook. But if you plan ahead, it definitely makes things easier. It makes it easier to take care of yourself and make sure you're getting 3 somewhat balanced meals every single day. Now, I know it's not perfect, especially for me. I vary on the day-to-day. Some days are busier than others. Are you guys more of a prioritizing self-care every day or like an every week type of situation where you'd rather have some busier days so that you can fully relax on another day during the week?
I'd say I go more by the week. I'm kind of the type of person where like once I'm in the school mindset, I want to stay in it for as long as possible because once I start to relax, it's hard for me to like remotivate myself to do work again, which is kind of why like I like to set aside at least one day of the week where like I don't do very much work. Like we'll go to the beach sometimes, or I'll just take some time alone to like unwind and relax and stuff. But yeah, I'd say I look at it more on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think your days individually just get so hectic that sometimes it's hard to have time every single day to kind of prioritize it. But definitely, I think I've been really trying to have at least one day a week where you're really taking it easy. And I think that helps kind of, you're looking forward to that day all week, and that kind of helps you get through the harder parts of your week. So
I would say I agree, but also still sometimes have little like things spread out throughout the week. It won't be like for most of the day, but it'll be like a short little thing like what we're doing right now. And just, I would say, another thing would be that like grind. Once you get into that like mindset of working on stuff, you kind of don't want to like leave it because it's hard to get back into it.
Have you guys ever struggled with negative reinforcement? I feel like sometimes engineers treat self-care or taking a day to relax as almost not like a punishment, but if I don't get this studying done and I don't get this assignment done, then I'm not letting myself relax. And it's really hard to break that mindset because sometimes you need to relax in the moment or you're not in the right mindset to be doing work for 8 hours at the library and on an all-out grind. So have you guys struggled with that at all during your time at USC or even maybe prior while you were in high school?
100%. I think it's really hard because you're never done with everything, and that's just kind of how the semester works.
For sure.
Something's assigned and then you start working on it, and then the next thing is assigned and you start working on it, and it just keeps going.
Just back to back.
So I've definitely had times where like I know I needed a break, but I just feel guilty because things weren't done or I felt behind, and it is really hard to kind of recover from that because then maybe I would take like 30 minutes off and then I'd sit there for those 30 minutes being like, oh, I need to do this and this and that. So then your mind just whirls and but you kind of just learn to get better, I think, at handling that. But it's definitely, I think, something that I know a lot of people deal with. So
Yeah, definitely. I love the mind whirling while you're trying to relax, because I struggle with stressful relaxation too, where sometimes when I'm like hanging out with my friends or watching a movie or just taking time for myself, I'm almost more stressed than when I'm doing work, because I just get guilty. I should be doing something. I have something better to do, when really you have to realize how important it is to take care of yourself and make sure you're happy.
And it's also just sitting in the back of your mind. So it's like you don't even really get to enjoy like what you're doing. So that's also, makes it difficult.
Definitely. It's easy to get negative quickly. I've been trying to do more positive reinforcement this year, my senior year. I should have started much earlier for those listening and just going to college. But I like positive reinforcement. Sometimes when I have a lot of reading heavy courses where I have to read chapters and respond to questions, and I'll put M&Ms on each page so that when I turn it, it's like, surprise, there you go. And it's little things like that just, it's a way to positively reward yourself for doing work instead of constantly like degrading yourself or using relaxation as like something that you only get if you meet a certain quota for the day. It's tough. How has you guys' self-care journey changed coming from high school to college? Because I think a lot of our students listening are prospective engineering students at the university, and they're going to be going through that transition very quickly.
For me, I'd say that I was actually a lot better at self-care coming into college. I think that had a lot to do just with my course load. So like freshman, sophomore year, with my like more general engineering classes, I felt like I had more time to be able to take care of myself, which is why like when it came to junior year and we had Mech Ops, which is an infamous class for mechanical engineering, and my course load got a lot heavier, I struggled a lot more with taking care of myself and finding a balance in my life. But I think like throughout the year, I slowly tried my best to get better, and I think now I'm at a point where I can take care of myself while also managing a really stressful workload.
Yeah, I think for me it's a little bit different. I think in high school sometimes things were easier to balance just because I was at home and, your parents are around to make sure you're getting your meals in and to help you with chores, and suddenly like you're in college and now you have to do all of that on your own on top of doing school. So I think at first, like freshman year and sophomore at the beginning, it was definitely really hard to adjust to that, and I wasn't doing a good job. And then I got into the role, and then I think junior once again also threw me for a loop. Last year it was pretty tough because for a lot of people that's when your classes start getting really intense. So I suddenly got good at self-care, and then it was tough again. But you just kind of you find your balance eventually. And like now senior year, I also feel like I'm a lot better at handling things, like making sure I'm taking time to cook and like getting all my other chores done and keeping things clean, all those basic things, and also staying on top of school. So it just takes time to like adjust a little bit, I think.
Yeah, I would say it was definitely like a lot easier like in high school compared to now, and it's just like definitely has been a struggle to figure out throughout these like 4 years, and it's even now still like something trying to figure out because different things come and like a lot of things happen. And I would say also a big thing was in high school, a lot of the social aspects were already like combined with other activities you had going on. So with like coming into college, a lot of that stuff was separated and gives you like a lot more on your plate to like figure out. So I think that's definitely one of the bigger struggles.
I definitely echo what everyone said. It's so nice when I was, for everyone listening, just to give you guys some background, all three of my guests with me tonight are seniors in engineering, and I am a senior as well. We all graduated high school in 2020, so our first year was completely online. So I remember sitting in my office or sitting in my dad's office working on homework, and I could smell my mom cooking dinner in the kitchen, and it was so nice because it was right there, and I had a really nice in-house laundry machine. Now I have to walk down 2 floors to do my laundry, which makes it even less appealing to do. So it gets a little harder once you get to college, but you definitely settle in. And I think about it like while you're at home, while you're in high school, you kind of have supports holding you up, and then once you get to college, those supports slowly melt away. One of my friends on the design team that I work on likens it to 3D printing. You have a 3D printed part, it's held up with supports, and then you put it in the bath and the supports go away and it has to hold itself up on its own. So I think while we're talking about kind of highs and lows, does anybody have a memory of a high point on a day you did really well taking care of yourself, one of your best days here at the university, or on the flip side, a low point and maybe a silver lining in a dark cloud for a day you maybe didn't do so well, but there was something that made it a little bit more enjoyable?
I mean, I can start with a low point. No, I mean, it's fair, but I think it was probably like the first final season that we were like back on campus, so sophomore year. And I think that sometimes when I get stressed, my immune system likes to fail me a little bit. So I was very, very sick. And it was hard because normally like I'd be sick at home. My mom would always, this was my first time being really sick at college, and at home, you always have your mom. My mom would bring me tea, and suddenly, like, I didn't know what to do. Like, I didn't know what I should be taking. I didn't know what I should be doing. And I think I had to be studying at the same time because I had exams in, like, a week. So it was really hard. And I think, still being able to connect with home was helpful and calling my mom. But also, my roommate was great during the time. I feel like we support each other. And so I think that she's always, like, reminded me that, I can be strong and get through things. So even in those like moments where it sucks, like having someone like that in your life is really helpful. So
I definitely agree to that. I got the flu, influenza B, last year, and I was running 103-degree fever and did not feel good at all. I had lab that week, and I emailed my professors, and they were totally cool with it, and my lovely roommate took me to the urgent care so that I could get some Tamiflu and start feeling a little bit better. I think that all goes back to transparency and being honest with the people around you, because it's not like being at home. It's not like having your mom or your dad or your support system there that knows you really well and can read your mind. And in order for your friends to be able to help you or help support you and keep you happy at school, you have to be honest with them and tell them what's going on, even when it's a little bit uncomfortable. That's enough sad talk for the podcast. Anybody have a really happy moment they'd like to share?
I have a high one that was actually pretty recent. I feel like, as I've said before, like, getting into senior year, I feel like at this point I've gotten a lot better at, like, maintaining a healthy schedule and taking care of myself on a weekly basis. And the group of us likes to go to the beach a lot. So a couple weeks ago, we just took a Friday, went to the beach in the afternoon, hung out for a while. One of our friends didn't want to get tan, so she brought an umbrella that broke. So she was laying under this half-broken umbrella, and it was really funny. But yeah, I think just like taking those times and like making sure you're de-stressing, spending time with your friends and stuff. And I was still able to do that while keeping on top with all of my schoolwork and stuff. So that was a pretty good week for me. Yeah,
to add, I feel like, I know we're all talking about things that are more recent, but I think that we've just gotten a lot better at handling things recently. But we've kind of all been doing a thing this semester where we're kind of have dinner together like once a week, and one person will cook. Yeah, and we'll come over, and it's just
one
a nice
person
time.
usually.
Yeah.
Usually Grace. Let's be honest.
Yes.
That's okay, we're working on it.
We did have Allison made some phenomenal vodka pasta.
Exactly.
Oh, yes,
exactly.
yes. We're trying to switch it up, but it
Yes.
typically is Grace.
Cooking is my relaxation. That's my self-care. So
Exactly.
I like to
But
cook.
yeah.
And my self-care is eating the food.
Yes,
exactly. No, but those moments have just been really nice because it's just kind of a step back from class, and we all just kind of get to hang out, and we're all eating and making sure that we're taking everyone's, usually healthy food too. So like that's been a really good time also.
Yeah.
For sure. Talking about the necessities like eating, how has your sleep schedule changed during your time at USC? We'll start with Amanda because we've both been through the same major, I changed in a little later than her, so the same 3 years, last 3 years we've had about the same course load, and I know that our sleep schedules could have been better. So how did you do the last 2 years, your sophomore, junior year? How are you doing now? Where do you think you could improve?
Oh, that's a really good question. Sophomore and junior year, I think I slept basically never. I know, like, this is gonna sound so bad. It sounds so bad.
I don't know about
but
sophomore
I used to
year,
say that
though.
I was like pretty nocturnal. Like I would stay up super, super late, like trying to get work done, and it would never really work out for me because I'd be too tired to get anything done. And then I'd have to like be up early in the morning for class. So I feel like I didn't really get too much sleep sophomore, junior year, and I was really, really bad about prioritizing that.
But it's a learning moment, right?
Yeah, for sure. It took me a while, but definitely now I'm at a better place where, like, I do prioritize my sleep because I know if I'm tired, I'm not going to be productive and get everything done to the best of my ability. So now I make sure that I sleep a decent amount every night. I think the one thing that I could improve is being a little more consistent with when that sleep happens. I think getting on a good schedule is really important. So, like, I have 9 a.m.s Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but Tuesday, Thursday, I don't have class until later, and I tend to sleep in a little more on those days. But I think, like, keeping a more consistent schedule would be even more beneficial for me.
Yeah, I think sleep is definitely a difficult thing in college. I would definitely say I sleep more than never. But I do think my sleep schedule is, like, I think what can be unhealthy about it is that it's very kind of sporadic and changes so much. Because I would have nights where be going to bed really late, and sometimes for no reason, but just because I was like, oh, this is my time to relax. So then I'm up until 2 a.m. watching TV or doing things that, you know, I could be sleeping, but it's hard to kind of figure that out. But it's like what Amanda said, like, sometimes you have class a little bit earlier and sometimes you have class a little bit later. So your sleep almost changes every night, and it kind of makes it difficult to feel relaxed or actually fully awake sometimes because you're not on a consistent schedule. So, like, that's something I'm definitely still working on, and I think it really takes a long time to get good at that because you're going to want to sleep in when you can sleep in. So,
yeah. For sure. I know me in particularly, struggles with my phone and going to bed. The worst thing in the world for you, please do not do this, is take out your phone and text people, respond to emails, scroll through TikTok. Doing that at night makes it impossible to fall asleep. Then you know, 1 hour becomes 2 hours, becomes 3 hours, and then you're only getting, 4 or 5 hours a night to sleep. And it's not very productive for anybody.
Yeah, it's definitely been tough.
No, for sure. It's really tempting because it feels like, oh, it'll just take my mind off things for a little bit. I'll just do it for a little bit. So
and then you look at the time. It's 2 a.m.
And then you look and it's like, oh, shoot. So speaking of all of us being seniors, we're about to go into a whole new world as, career professionals in a 9-to-5 environment, manufacturing environment, wherever we're going. What do you think of the idea of work-life balance, and how important is that to you, and what exactly do you think work-life balance should look like?
For me, I think work-life balance looks extremely different for everybody. I think everyone's personal work-life balance is really just dependent on what they need to do to take care of their well-being. For me, I'm really lucky, and in the past, like when I've done internships and stuff, being at work is also a social activity for me because I become friends with my coworkers and like just enjoy my time there. So in that way, I feel like I'm able to stay at work more, which is sometimes a necessity. Whereas some people, like, that's not exactly their situation. So I definitely think work-life balance looks different for everybody. But to me, it just means as long as you're still taking care of yourself and doing whatever it takes to make sure you're happy. That's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, 100%. I also think it's so different for everyone because for some people, like, really, really love working, and that's amazing. I'm really happy for them, but, like, that's not me, and it's fine. But so I think for me, it's just important, in my internship experience too, like, showing up for the time you're there and then going home when you can, because I feel like I enjoy myself the most when I'm not at work. But I did have, like, for me too, like, I think the people you have around you at work are also really important, and that makes it a little bit easier. But for me, it's really was just doing those things that I really enjoy outside of work, and that's my idea of work-life balance, is having time for those things, because I am happy with what I was doing, and I like the company I was working for, but I still feel like there's sometimes more to life for me than just work. And so my idea for work-life balance for me personally is just being able to do, like, both, like, work and the other things that make me happy.
For sure.
I feel for me, same thing, where it's like having those activities or things that you like to do and really trying to enforce them, like when you're not at work, because it can get kind of overwhelming if it's just like work, and then you have nothing else outside of that. So I think that for me is like a very big thing, like the activities that I like, and just sharing that I'm still able to do them and find joy in them, like beyond work.
Definitely.
I think it's hard too with thinking about those kind of corporate 9-to-5 jobs that we all might be heading into. But it's very routine. I think the nice thing about college sometimes is things are kind of unexpected and your schedule varies a little bit. But once you get there, it's kind of like the same, very similar things from day to day. So finding ways to break that routine, I think for me also would be something that's really important, because you just don't want to be feel like you're stuck in some big wheel that just keeps rolling. Like, it's nice to kind of step out of that for a second if you can.
Definitely, and take all of your vacation days.
Yeah.
You get vacation
there for
days.
a reason.
Yeah, definitely. I hear a lot of, young engineers and just like young professionals in the world talk about, oh, I need to be working harder. I need to be making a name for myself. And yes, you should be doing the best that you can do, but in order to be the best that you can be, you need to be taking care of yourself. Otherwise, you're just going to constantly be underperforming, and you're going to lose some of that drive and that initial passion that probably pushed you into that industry to begin with. Speaking about like work and relationships outside of school and relationships inside of school, how often do you guys talk to your families? I know I am from the Midwest. Amanda's from the Midwest. We have a Denver resident, Colorado. I guess Colorado's kind of still Midwest.
I don't know about
Kind of.
that.
It's
a little different.
A little different. Denver's a little different. Towards Nebraska.
Yeah, okay. Koopa's in with Nebraska. I'm just kidding.
And we have Maryland, so we're all from far away from USC. So how often are you keeping in touch with your family? How has your relationship with your family changed since you got to college? And kind of walk me through what that looks like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very close with my family still, and I talk to my mom every day. So it's just kind of a thing, and so sometimes a 5-minute phone call, but it's just something that I think she needs it sometimes more than I do. But
Definitely.
But it's been nice to have that, because I do miss them sometimes, and it's hard being far away. But I will say, for me personally, I think that my relationship with my family almost improved when I got to college, because suddenly I wasn't around them as much, and you start to miss things, and you start to realize at times how lucky I personally felt very lucky with the family that I did have, because I realized how much they'd been doing for me when suddenly I had to do it all on my own. So for me personally, I think that my relationship with both my parents got a lot better, because I just became more appreciative and also more mature. So yeah, it's hard to be away when suddenly I miss them more, but it's a very interesting kind of dynamic.
Yeah, for sure. I'm also extremely close with my family, and right now we're in a really good place, and I talk to my parents at least every other day, if not almost every day. I will say we did go through a bit of a rough patch after I was on campus for the first time sophomore year coming back from COVID, because I got super caught up with the college lifestyle and just meeting new people all the time and with all my classes, and I was really, really bad about talking to my parents. But I realized how much of a support system they were for me and how much I missed them all the time. So now I'm really good about talking to them all the time, for sure.
Oh, yeah, I also usually talk to, more my mom every day, but then again, still keep in contact with them pretty frequently. And I would say also personally for me, the move over here, it was also exposed me to other family that I didn't really see much or keep in contact much, because I do have family that lives not too far from here. So that has allowed me to keep in contact with cousins that I have here, and my aunt and my uncle, and just because there was very much a big disconnect with me living on the other coast and
far away.
Yeah, so it's a lot of the communication we ever did have was very limited. I think we would see each other maybe once every 4 or 5 years. So it was definitely a lot more being involved into my other side of family.
I remember the baby shower you went to sophomore year. Brought home treats, and they were very good. And it was cool to see pictures of you with your new niece, right? With baby girl.
Yes. Well, actually, it was 2, but for that baby shower, it was the niece.
Oh,
yeah,
that is so exciting.
It was 2 of my cousins. One of them, he had a boy, and then the other one, a few months later, had a girl.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
That is very cute. I'm so happy that you guys are staying in touch with your families, because I know how important mine is to me, and particularly my furry family members have been much missed, and definitely a needed part of my self-care that I know a lot of prospective students come in having pets and they can't come to college with you, and it's tough. It's tough when you go home and you see your pets and they kind of look at you like, well, you left me. Yeah. You left me here. And it's hard, but I know when I graduate, I will be getting a dog immediately and potentially getting a dog in the spring semester to start training for moving in with me when I move for work. So
I'm all for that.
I would love that.
Love a little wiener dog.
I think that'll be some self-care right there.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
On the topic of things that bring you joy and like really put you at the most peace, what's like a perfect day for you? Like if you could do no engineering work for the day, just do what Amanda wants, what Isabella wants, what Allison wants. What's your go-to activity? What are you doing? Budget unlimited.
Oh. In that case.
No.
Sleep in. I would say that would be the first
free
one.
activity. That is a great sign.
Sleep in.
I don't know. For me, like, definitely sleep in. Agree with that. I think I really love to read, so I would probably read a lot. Maybe go to the beach, read on the beach, have a nice dinner with my friends, because my friends bring me a lot of joy for sure. I don't know, just a very relaxing day.
Yeah, I agree. I think it kind of depends, but I think for me too, definitely sleep in. I would probably take a dance class. I used to dance, and like that's something I definitely miss because I haven't had enough time for it. So if I could get back into that, that would be very nice. But yeah, just also take some time to like honestly watch TV. Honestly, spend time with my friends though. For me, honestly, that's relaxing also, and just something that brings me. I think it's something that brings me joy. I like being around other people, so getting the chance to do that. But if it was wintertime, I'd go skiing. I'd be all day on the mountain. Like,
where was your application to the ski team this year?
Unfortunately, guys, I don't have ski equipment out here. It's back home. Too much of a storage issue at this point.
You'll have to
Grace
come
manages.
at some point.
Yes.
It is underneath my bed. And I'm one pole down. So I'll have to get new poles. I have no idea where it is. Probably somewhere at the ski house. Which means it's gone. It's being used probably as a fence post somewhere for somebody else. Well, thank you guys so much for your time tonight, for sharing your experiences with me and with our audience. I'd love to wrap up with one final question. Can you be healthy and also be an engineering major?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, I also agree. I feel like you can definitely make it work. It takes time, but like it can definitely happen.
Yeah, I would say so too. But obviously, it won't be easy.
Yeah.
But it definitely is. Yeah, there are hard days, but you're obviously gonna have your good days too. So, but it's definitely very possible.
Yeah, and sometimes you just gotta focus on the good. You know?
Yeah,
for sure. Focus on the positive.
Yeah.
It's a great takeaway from this podcast. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me, and I hope our listeners enjoyed hearing a little bit more about what our USC students are doing outside of engineering.
So welcome back, everybody. Grace, thank you for bringing us another great episode. I guess, I'm sure this was recapped as well, but is there any one big message that you want the viewers to take away?
I think the major takeaway from our conversation is that students should prioritize healthcare and taking care of themselves from their first day at the university all the way through their senior year. I know junior year and sophomore year can get a little bit more complex, more into the weeds with your coursework. So you really have to be careful, but it's more important to be taking care of yourself and to be a happy engineer than it is to be suffering through it.
Yeah, for sure. I know that was a big thing I was concerned about going into college. Engineering is known as this really hard degree. There's a lot of stuff to do. I was also moving cross country. So I was just I was really concerned about making sure I took care of myself and found enough time. And I think throughout the years, I've learned how to do that. I like going for my runs. I like talking to my friends. But I really enjoyed hearing about all the different things that you and your friends did for that as well.
For sure. Thank you guys for letting me host and letting me walk you through how I take care of myself and how a few other of my fellow engineers are able to take care of themselves on the day-to-day, on the weekly basis, and then on the yearly basis.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Grace. I really appreciate it. And for everyone else listening, I hope that you're taking care of yourself and making sure that one of the things that you're doing is not listening to this podcast, listen to other fun podcasts every once in a while. Hopefully you're enjoying this, right? If this is your self-care, great. Thanks so much for being here. We'll see you next week with another episode of Viterbi Voices. Bye, everybody.